Well, one of the positives of being a fan of UCR baseball is getting the opportunity to see some of the best baseball teams in the country. One of the negatives of being a UCR baseball coach is that you actually have to play against some of the best baseball teams in the country. This year, no exception. You guys always have a tough schedule, 13 games against 2009 NCAA participants. What are your general thoughts to the scheduling process, especially when it comes to that non-conference schedule leading up to the start of Big West play?
You know, the non-conference schedule is always a challenge to, one, just get it scheduled, in the sense that you're trying to look, we're already scheduled through 2012, and you're trying to make the best guess that you can in terms of you want to play a difficult schedule, yet something that is manageable, something that is affordable, all of those types of things. And you'll look at a club now and you say that ought to be someone that we can bring into town and hopefully beat up on a little bit. And 2 years from now, they've had a great recruiting class and they're very, very good. On the flip side, you may have someone that you think is a great RPI weekend and their club struggles a little bit and it doesn't help as much as you thought. But traditionally, our strength of schedule is pretty good.
Does the fact that you play in the Big West, which is one of the toughest, if not arguably the toughest conference in the nation, play into how you schedule the non-conference games?
Yeah, it does. We don't have to worry so much about RPI numbers because our conference is going to bring our RPI numbers up. In addition to that, our midweek games being located where we are, we're going to play San Diego State, UCLA, USC, Loyola, Pepperdine. Hopefully I'm not leaving anyone out. But those are all good RPI games, and those are all top-notch programs, and there's no easy games in that mix. If you don't go out and play well, you could lose all of them.
When fans look at the schedule when it first comes out, I'm sure they circle games that they think of as highlights, whether it's key rivals or other reasons they might think particular games are important. Do you as coaches and players, not necessarily from a rivalry standpoint, but from a how the season is progressing standpoint, do you have certain games on the schedule that you say, you know what, I'm going to know a lot more about my team by this game. This is going to be an important benchmark?
You know, I think we try and break it down one at a time, that old cliche, we're just going to play them one at a time. But I think the tournament that we're going to play at Arizona State is going to be a bellwether for us in terms of we will have 10, 12 games under our belt by then against good competition. That tournament has Arizona State, Oregon State, Florida International, Cal Poly, ourselves. We ought to have a fairly good idea about what type of team we are by the time that week ends. So I'm kind of looking at that as kind of figuring out where we're at.
Well, you obviously haven't seen any of the other conference teams as of yet this spring. Based on what you do know, on the few rain-shortened weeks that you've been able to practice over the past several, where do you see the Big West shaking out? Where do you see the Highlanders in that hole?
You know, I think the Big West is going to be better than it's been and deeper than it's been since we've been in the Big West. I think you look at the top two teams in our conference with Irvine and Fullerton. Both of them are in the top 10 preseason, in just about every preseason poll in the top 10. Cal Poly was in the top 20 the majority of last year. We know Long Beach State is going to be good again. Santa Barbara was on the cusp of doing special things last year. UOP is really an underrated club. I mean, they are so offensive, it's frightening. Cal State Northridge, and listening to Coach Rousey talk the other day at Media Day, he's really, really happy with their program. I have not seen Coach Peters, so I don't know what's going on at Davis, but they were in a regional just 2 years ago, so they're going to be fine. I think our conference is really, really good. Where do I see us? I think we can compete with anybody in our conference on any day. What that means is just how well are we going to do on a given day. That's going to be the outcome at the end. I think we're good enough to be competitive in the top half of our conference, but our conference is pretty deep. If you don't play well, it'd be easy to not do that.
We talked a little bit ago about the players that you've lost. I would think one of the things that helps you in terms of preparing from year to year now is you've had the same coaching staff together for the better part of 3 seasons. Can you let everybody know what the division of duties is amongst the assistant coaches and how that does benefit you, having had everybody together for a while?
It does benefit us. There's some continuity in that. Coach Benton, Randy Benton, has been with us for 6 years now, and he handles all of our defensive things. Former All Pac-10 shortstop at Arizona State, helps with the offense as well. Nathan Choate is our pitching coach. This is Nathan's 3rd year with us. We've been in the top 10 in the country in the last couple of years that he's been here in terms of fewest walks allowed. I believe we're in the top 20 in earned run average last year. Coach McNamara, our volunteer, does a great deal of the work with our offense and shares that with me. And Coach Brett Martinez works with our catchers and helps us with the offense. Having all of those guys together for 3 or 4 years in a row, players know what to expect from us each day. It's easier for us to figure what we're going to get out of each other as well.
Looking into your crystal ball a little bit, if 4 or 5 months from now UC Riverside is preparing for a first-round NCAA tournament game, what are the things that have gone well for UC Riverside this year?
First and foremost, we have to stay healthy, particularly on the mound. We just don't have enough experienced depth to be able to overcome a bunch of injuries. We will have to play well defensively. We think we have a very, very good defensive club. I think if we can do those two things, and we have a couple of those freshmen on our pitching staff step up, if those things happen, I think we could look up at the end of the year and say, you know, we've got ourselves in position, and we'll see where we go from there.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Pleasure. Thanks very much.